Babies are born with two fears: the fear of loud noises and the fear of falling. But over time, they outgrow this fear, probably because the dads are throwing them up in the air while the mother's watching horror. I'm not here to talk about babies, though. So, how many of us have ever fallen? Right? Anywhere. It doesn't matter. And how many of us have fallen deliberately? In love? Well, yeah, that's one way of falling for sure. I have fallen both intentionally and accidentally, not in love or out of love. That's a story for another day. In fact, I like to fall. And I like to fall from moving planes. My sense of adventure comes from my childhood. I remember visiting my grandmother's village on the foots of Mount Kenya in a place called Meru, where they say when you marry a girl from there, 10 years guarantee. And I remember, swinging on trees. I was quite the tomboy. And swinging on trees and swimming in rivers. It was very exciting, and I think that's where my sense of adventure comes from. So allow me to take you to the skies with me. Let's go on a skydive. Why not? I have been very lucky to skydive in 3 continents in the world. The waiting is always the most gripping and the longest part. It could be months, could be weeks, could be days, and hours on the day. So I go to the venue and they start to prepare me. They tell me, they give me all of these safety instructions. Never mind, I forget all of them when I get into that plane, so it's pointless. They put me in these really heavy harnesses. I can hardly move. And they test the parachute mechanism. Just in case one of my jaded exes or an arch enemy is trying to get rid of me on their terms. You'll be surprised, actually, how many cases of exes trying to get rid of people do it through skydiving. The walk or the drive to the plane it makes the waiting even longer. Depending on where I am, it could be a short walk, could be a short drive, could be a long walk. Depends. If I'm lucky enough to have an instructor who is either chatty or good-looking, then it makes this journey worthwhile. Anyway, we get to the plane, and as soon as we get settled, the instructor straps himself to my back. There's no getting rid of him. And then I have to shuffle on my bum to edge closer and closer to the door of the open plane. All the while, the plane is taking off. It's beautiful. You can hear everything. I can hear the engine. If there's anybody speaking in the plane, I can hear it. I can hear my heart beating on my chest. My senses become so heightened. It's amazing. Then the time comes for me to jump. So I am sitting on the door of the open moving plane. My feet are dangling. And I know it's time to face the music. There is no turning back. So before I can process and think about what a grave mistake I'm about to make, or remind myself that we Africans don't do things like this. We don't jump from moving planes. We do not hug lions. We do not swim with sharks. We do not keep snakes as pets. All these things are in that category. I am launched out of the moving plane at 13,500 feet. And I start to fly at 150 miles per hour, which is about 240 kilometers per hour. To put it in context, 13,500 feet is just over 4 kilometers traveling upwards. 240 kilometers per hour is faster than the fastest Mirage pickup from Meru. And even faster than the bluest Subaru in Nairobi. When they talk, when they say that something takes your breath away, they probably were describing free falling from a moving plane at 13,500 feet. Because air literally comes at you and takes your breath away. You cannot control how much of it you're taking in. It hits your face and contorts into shapes you do not want caught on camera for Instagram or Facebook. That's for sure. After a minute of free falling, which feels like a lifetime, the parachute, thank heavens, opens. And everything goes quiet, really still. I can only hear the wind blowing underneath the canopy. There is something to be said about sitting at 5,000 feet with the world beneath your feet. The beauty is like nothing you've ever seen. I, for one, never knew beauty like that existed. In Diani, it was the white sand and the hues of blue, emerald, and turquoise. In England, it was the beautiful and vast green countryside. In Dubai, it was the man-made opulence of a country you wouldn't know was once a desert. It's all really amazingly breathtaking beauty and very, very humbling. So I bask, enjoy it, and it doesn't last too long because on to the next stage of my skydive, which they say is the most dangerous, the landing. You could shatter every bone in your body if you do not pay attention to the instructions given by your safety instructor. So what they want you to do is pull your knees towards your chest so that the instructor lands before you do. Because if, for the love of God, you decide you're a shiro or a hero and land before him, then you'll probably be saying the serenity prayer as you go down, you know. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. The courage to change the things I can. And the wisdom to know the difference when it's too late. What I find helps me during the landing is to ground myself before I land on the ground. I like to not think about how far I have fallen, more about the horizon and where I am going to land. It's worked every time, thankfully. So I land, I'm on the ground, and it's beautiful. So I've often asked myself, if, like babies, outgrow the fear of falling, is it possible for us to also outgrow the fear of falling? Is it possible for us to see falling as a way of rising, as opposed to just falling? I have found that to be true. And the two reasons why I find I love skydiving so much is, one, it's validated me in knowing that the fear I feel is all in my head. And two, it's given me permission to be fearless through so many experiences in my life. And I think when Will Smith said that on the other side of maximum fear are all the most beautiful things, he probably wasn't wrong. Thank you. you.